What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since '03 and eager to see this team getting back to playing winning basketball. The Detroit Pistons just had what I would consider their best win in a long time last night against the Los Angeles Lakers. They won by a score of 115 to 103, and in this video, I want to go through, shout out some of the individual performances that I felt like made huge differences, and then kind of talk about the overall team, some trends, and just recap everything from the night. So for the first player that I do want to shout out individually, it's going to be Cade Cunningham. Now, Cade did not really ever get it rolling in the scoring department tonight, but that is a disservice for how good of a game he actually had, because he finished the game with 17 points on 7 of 17 shooting, which is definitely one of his lower games as far as scoring goes, but he did get a triple-double with 11 rebounds, 11 assists. His turnovers were only at 3, which obviously is very low for what we've seen rest of the year, and he played amazing defense, picking up the assignment on LeBron for most of the night. That was definitely the most shocking part of last night for me, is that Cade not only took the LeBron defensive assignment, but he got like 4 stops on LeBron, and most of them came during moments of the game where we really needed them. There was multiple possessions where they tried to completely clear side and get LeBron backing down Cade, and Cade wasn't going for none of it. Normally, LeBron had to settle for a turnaround jumper, most of which he missed. And overall, it was just a really good game from Cade on the defensive end. There was another play in the fourth quarter where he forced a turnover. I think they called it traveling on Austin Reeves when he was guarding him. And it was just an amazing game for Cade. This is exactly what you want out of your star player. Your stars, besides a very short list of them, are not going to be able to score the ball and get you 30 literally every single last night. And on the nights where they're not able to do that, and they might be a little bit inefficient, and maybe the scoring isn't perfect on that given night, you want them to impact the game in other ways. And I felt like Cade just did a great job of doing that last night in the win. And towards the end of the video, we're going to talk about some of the late game execution stuff that I think that he played a huge factor in as well. So moving on, the second player that I do want to shout out here is Jaden Ivy. He finished the game with a team high 26 points on 10 of 16 shooting from the field. He was 1 of 2 from the three-point line. Another game where he led our team in free throw attempts, shooting 5 of 7 from the free throw line. Coming in with 4 boards and 4 assists, a steal and a block. He did have 4 turnovers, but overall, it was a great game for Jaden Ivy. The Los Angeles Lakers had absolutely nobody who could stay in front of Jaden Ivy on the perimeter. There was a couple plays where he just blew by Austin Reeves, got to the hoop. He was really getting whatever he wanted when he wanted it against this Los Angeles Lakers team, and it was just so great to watch. Another thing that we will mention in the late game execution stuff, not to get too ahead of myself, the synergy between him and Cade is really improving. There was a lot of plays where I felt like they were playing off of each other, and it led to easy buckets for Ivy, and just super impressed with Ivy, not only last night, but the season as a whole. His shooting is a huge development. I feel so confident every time he puts up a 3 now, and it's going to make a huge impact going forward on this team. So the next player that I do want to talk about is going to be Ron Holland. Ron Holland played what I thought was probably his best game as a pro so far. He finished the game with 12 points, 4 boards, and 2 steals. He was 4 of 9 from the field. All 5 of his misses were 3-point attempts. He did not make a single 3. They were pretty much giving that up to him for a good portion of the game, and he just couldn't get any of them to drop. But that didn't really matter because I felt like Ron Holland still had a very good impact on the game. Defensively, he was locked in. Offensively, he was getting buckets in transition. He was getting downhill, doing all of the things that you really want Ron to see. He seemed very confident out there, was not playing like a rookie. He was doing everything that you really want him to do outside of making three-pointers. And I think that still will likely come around, at least to some degree, in the future. So overall, I'd say it was a really encouraging game for Ron Holland. He did play 17 minutes last night. I don't think that's a season high for him, but it did feel like that he did play the most meaningful minutes of his short career so far tonight. So overall, a really good game for Ron Holland, and really felt like he made a positive impact on the game. He was a +5 on the floor, and Bickerstaff was willing to keep him out there for a little bit longer than he typically does because he was playing so well. And the last player I do want to shout out is Jaylen Duren. Jaylen Duren finished the game with 11 points and 14 boards, 5 of 7 from the floor. He had a steal and a block. He was in a bit of foul trouble, so he did not come back into the game until there was like 2 minutes left after Stu got a tech. But I thought that Jaylen Duren did a very, very good job of going up against Anthony Davis, who is one of the tougher big man matchups in the league. You might look at the box score and see that Anthony Davis finished the game with 37 points, but just know that Jaylen Duren seemed to make it about as tough as he possibly could on Anthony Davis last night. Jaylen Duren also made a good impact offensively, a couple dump down dunks, things like that. And I felt like Jaylen Duren played a very good game, especially considering that he's been off to a little bit of a rocky start to start the year. The foul trouble, not really concerning, but definitely didn't help. But I did want to shout him out because I think that he had his hands full last night against Anthony Davis, and he did about as good as you possibly could ask a 20-year-old to do against a player like Anthony Davis in a game where we were able to actually go on and win. So to kind of talk about the team as a whole, this was such an impressive win to me for so many different reasons. Number one, they didn't even shoot the ball particularly well, and they still won. The Pistons as a team were 8 of 34, which is only 23% from the three-point line, and they still managed to win this game. So it's not like they just got hot from three at the right time and were able to take this over. They really beat the Lakers at their own game, getting to the rim, getting to the free throw line, and they just took care of business without having to hit a bunch of threes that was just coming from variance and good shooting to do it. So that was really encouraging for me to see. The turnovers were probably a season low. They finished with 12 turnovers, which I'm not sure, but it sure feels like it was the season low. There was a lot of games already where we're into the 20s for turnovers, which is clearly unacceptable and not good. So the fact that we did finish with only 12 tonight was a very encouraging sign. Felt like they're building a lot of good habits. It seems like this team has been getting better and better and better every single game, and it's starting to click just a little bit more. And I think that that really shows at the end of the game, especially. During the first couple games of the year, we were in a couple close games. When it came down to crunch time, last 6 minutes in the fourth quarter, the offense would go completely stagnant. We'd give up easy buckets on the other end, and we'd kind of melt down in the last few minutes of close games. But tonight, the Pistons got out to a big lead. The Lakers closed the gap by going into the fourth quarter. The Pistons were up by a couple possessions, and they were able to not only hang on to the lead, but extend it by just playing smart basketball and not turning over the ball, not giving up easy buckets or anything like that. Once Cade checked back into the game and Ivey was back into the game with him, the last few closeout possessions when we really needed to get one or two buckets to just wrap it up, Cade was able to take charge of the offense. When the defensive collapsed, he was able to find Jaden Ivy for some easy buckets, and it was just a really encouraging sign. I really don't know the last time the Pistons had a good win like this against a good team that is more or less at full health. It's been a long time. I was talking with some of my other friends, talking about maybe Oklahoma City of last year, but they were a little bit depleted. You would have to go back a really, really long time to see a Pistons game where they beat a team of the Lakers caliber. I know that they're probably not like real true blue championship contenders at this stage anymore, but it's just a great win. I don't have anything else to say about it. It's a great win. I'm going to enjoy it for now. The schedule is actually starting to ease up a little bit now. We're now 3-5 going into a couple games where we might be favored to win. So things are looking up. I'm excited. I'll catch up with y'all soon.